What's today? What's today? You ask. Oh, God. What's today? You ask. Today is watching the most ridiculous deaths in history. Like, I know it sounds fucked up, but yeah, that's what I did. Watching the most ridiculous deaths in history. Let's go. It's too loud.
In a world of constant scientific revolution and innovation, it's required that any new theories be put to the test with reliable and repeatable proofs. Otherwise, you're about as useful as a flat earther. But sometimes that proof puts people in harm's way. Take, for instance, one Jesse William Lazier. This handsome block of cheddar was an American physician in the late 1800s, though he did live to see the new century, just not for very long. But we'll
He was a musician. He was a musician. Are these what they used to make music during during the 90s? Was this like these things? Are they what they used to make music? That's crazy. Like their technology, I think their technology is better than like way better than our technology now. Because like, bro, look at the instrument he's using to make music. Like I think that's liquid. We use liquid to make music now. They don't make it as they used to, bro. They don't.
get to that in a bit. Growing from a well-to-do boy into a well-to-do man,
Damn! Bro, how did he grow that fast? Bro, these guys in the 90s were crazy, man. I think they had some kind of like technology that made them do all these things. Like during the 90s, the technology was way better, bro. Technology was way better, bro. Damn, bro, grew into a man in an instant. So then in the 90s, there were only men. There were no like, they didn't have any little children, any babies, because they just grew from little children to men to women, grown-ups immediately. And that was why they knew a lot, because like their brain developed very fast and like, wow.
Lazier had a passion for helping the ill and minimizing all of the icky sickies that had plagued humanity throughout history. So he took that passion and put it to good use, receiving his doctorate in medicine from
Damn, bro. Damn, bro. Now I get it, bro. Now I get it, bro. Now I get it, bro. So it's like he's like use people to make his music and perform, but bro. But why? What did the other guy do though? Why did he like stop? Like, oh, bro.
Columbia University in 1892. Upgrading himself from graduate to practicing physician in 1895, Lazier focused his studies on two major diseases, the infectious malaria and the deadly yellow fever, both of which were stirring up all.
You guys should tell me. Are they like popular songs? I've never heard of this music before. I've never heard of this music before. Are they like popular musics? I've never heard of them before. I've not heard of them before.
All kinds of problems in the late 1800s, the worst of which being that people were dying. But exactly how these diseases were being spread.
Damn! Damn! Was his music so good that people were dying to his songs? Was his music so good that people were dying to his music? Yo, now this is actually crazy though. This is actually crazy, bro.
So easily, particularly in the southern United States and in the Caribbean, remained a mystery, for a few more years at least. Well, that's not exactly true. You see, about 14 years earlier, Cuban public health professional disease research guy Carlos Finlay came up with a theory. He proposed that some diseases, particularly yellow fever, could be transmitted through the bite of a
What the fuck, bro? But why is there mosquito in my bro? God damn. I think there's a mosquito in my room, bro. I didn't hear it anymore though when I removed the headset, but I think there's a mosquito in my room now. I think there's a mosquito in my room.
single infected mosquito. It's a rather simple theory. An itty bitty mosquito bites an infected.
Bro, there's a mosquito in my room, man. Oh my god, bro. Hold up, guys. I can't find it, bro.
Monkey, acquires the yellow fever, flies away, finds a healthy human, gives the suck, and leaves behind
Bro,
yellow fever.
why is it that, bro? Why is it that anytime I put on my headset, I hear the mosquito, bro? I think in its nose, man. Its nose. It's actually pissing me off now. It's pissing me off, bro. Oh my god, bro. I'm trying to focus on the video. God damn.
Continues. Now, if you've ever spent more than 2 seconds in the American South, you know just how bad them little shits can.
Now they're actually getting a lot, bro. They are getting a lot, bro. There's a lot, bro. I swear down. They are interrupting my videos, bro. I don't have any spray, man. God damn. God.
Yeah, so if there's a few infected people and a
Bro.
lot of mosquitoes,
Oh
things are
my
going to spread
God,
faster
man.
than a bad joke at a dad convention. Oh, come on. I'm hungry.
There's a mosquito in my room. Hold on, guys. I think I'm gonna put on something. And bro, it's itching. They're back, man. Oh God, bro.
Ooh, he said it. Finlay laid out his research and presented his nido-mosquito theory to the scientific community, opting for control over the mosquito population.
Now I don't even understand what the video is talking about anymore because like these mosquitoes were disturbing me. I can't even find them anymore. I don't know how they entered this place.
To minimize the spread. And they all laughed at him. All them stupid science bitches ridiculed and mocked Finlay's theory, brushing it off as complete nonsense. But now we fast forward more than a decade, and a very confident Lazier was willing to put that theory to the test. On himself.
Imagine being able to build anything. I'm thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI.
The odds, bro.
Right,
The
here's an
odds.
infected skater, and here's an uninfected me. So, if it bites me and I get infected, well, there you go. And so, in September of 1900, Lazier was deliberately bitten by an infected mosquito. He contracted yellow fever and died several days later. But his sacrifice
Yo.
would not be in vain, as it confirmed Finlay's theory, subsequently.
Bro died to his own music, bro. Like, god damn, that was crazy, man. Dying to his own music is crazy, bro. Dying to his own music is crazy, bro. The music was killing people, and bro also died to his music. What the fuck, man? That's actually crazy. Now I see why it's in part of like the most ridiculous dates, bro. How do you die to your own songs?
revolutionizing the control of yellow fever, including controlling the mosquito population.
Ah, there's a mosquito in my room, bro. Oh,
The age of exploration saw a lot of exploring from many a capable sea captain. But amongst the Columbuses and Marco Polos of history, some have fallen through the cracks, their deeds and accomplishments forgotten to time, or just not important enough for people to care. Johnny Kendrick was one such captain. Ever since growing up aboard Papa Kendrick's whaling vessel in his teenage years, John had a love of the sea, which explains the vast success he found in his later years. This guy was more American than he strapped apple pie asking for a tip. A member of the American Sons of Liberty, Kendrick personally took part in the famous Boston Tea Party, hucking countless crates of precious British life fuel into the harbor. He also commanded a privateer ship during the American Revolution, attacking and capturing British warships with his crew of 104 men, even going as far as helping convince the French to join the fight. After helping America get its independence, Kendrick took to the seas once more, this time on a more exploratory venture. Teaming up with famous explorer ship-sailing captain fellow Robert Gray, whom you've probably never heard of, the two bros made history, leading the first U.S. expedition to the Pacific Northwest, where they established a strong fur trade route. This was mainly trading goods like mirrors and knives to purchase sea otter pellets from local natives. Hey, gotta do what you gotta do, you know? Kendrick also made himself at home in Hawaii in the late 1700s. There, he built up a pretty lucrative sandalwood trade hub, harvesting the wood in Hawaii and shipping it off to China, who treasured the luscious lumber for its durability, medicinal and therapeutic properties, and of course, its smell. Oh, that's good wood. So Kendrick spent many a year just jamming as much of his wood as he could into China's supple trading ports, skipping back and forth across the Pacific Pond between mainland China and the Hawaiian Islands. But Hawaii, historically speaking, often had a bunch of fighting between chiefs of the different islands. Each chief, understandably enough, wanted to expand their respective territories and influence. Well, when returning to the islands in 1794, Kendrick found Hawaii to be in complete turmoil, with two chiefs duking it out to be the big chief in charge. One of the tribes was being supplied by Captain William Brown, a proper Brit who was willing to get some land for the British crown. Kendrick replied he too supplied a chief of great renown, and put to the test Kendrick did his best to smack the captain down. So in December of 1794, a battle commenced with Captain Brown supporting the chief of Oahu, and Kendrick...
Yo, was this like in the Bible? I don't know, like, because I don't know what's going on, bruv. I think this was like during the war, like something. I don't know if this, you guys should let me know, brother. Was this during the time that Jesus came? Was this related to like something in the Bible? Because I don't know what's going on right now.
supporting the chief of Kauai. How cute. The tropical tussle ended with Kendrick's side being victorious, inspiring him to celebrate the only way a true American knows how, by firing off loud guns. As planned, Kendrick's ship had ignited a volley of cannon fire. Although his side had lost, Captain Brown, determined to uphold proper British etiquette, agreed to discharge a volley of his own cannons in Kendrick's honor. Oh, this turtle soup is to die for.
Holy damn, bro, the 90s was scary as fuck, man. No, for real, the 90s was scary, bro. How does a soup create a hole in your soup? How do you drink soup and then you create a hole in your head? God damn, they don't make this kind of things anymore, man. They don't make this kind of things anymore.
What you get for slurping your soup. Ugh, turns out in a complete honest mistake, Captain Brown forgot to unload shot from one of his cannons before firing it off. Some historical accounts claim that grape shot tore through Kendrick's cabin, creating complete chaos and quickly killing the competent captain as he crunched on a collation of consumables. Oh, sorry about that. It's completely my fault.
Damn. Bro, I'm tired of these odds, bro. I swear down. I'm tired of these odds, bro.
Yep, that Jack Daniel. The two first-name having freak who founded the famous Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey Company. You know, that succulent spirit that did, will, or is getting you through those tough college days, or...
Bro, the Nizam, is he writing on his, oh my god, but I don't know what's going on, bro.
Life in general? That's the one. Well, little Jackie Boy was born in Tennessee in the mid-1800s as the youngest of 10, mainly because his birth was the one that sent his beloved mother skyward. Very sad. Now, unfortunately, not much is known about Jack's early life because them town records don't went caught fire. Most of the insight that we do have into Jack's life actually comes from the Jack Daniels Company historical records. Teeny Tiny Jack, the youthful entrepreneur that he was, yearned for work at the ripe old age of 8. The man to answer Jack's call was this guy, Dan Call, a preacher, a screecher, and one distilling creature. And of course, it would be here that Jack would find his calling. Something about Jack caught Dan's eye, and he saw real potential in the little tyke. This boy's gonna make a fine whiskey one day, I tell you what. And so, according to company history, an 8-year-old Jack began learning the art and science of distillation from one Nathan Green, a master distiller and slave under Dan Call. Fast forward several years, and Dan hit a crossroad. Given an ultimatum by his wife, Dan had to choose between his relationship with his tasty spirits or the Holy Spirit. The Reverend chose his Lord and Savior, saving his soul and his liver in the process. In that choice, Dan had sold his prized distillery to none other than his favorite pupil, Jack Daniel, whose first act as new owner was to hire on his friend and mentor Nathan Green as the company's master distiller. He also employed Nathan's 2 adult sons and, later down the line, his grandsons. Now, the Jack Daniels website really emphasizes that Jack never owned slaves. So if you disagree, don't look at me. I'm just a guy on the internet. A man of all business and no pleasure, Jack never married nor had any children of his own. He did, however, take his nephews under his wing to learn the business, eventually handing the distillery down to them in 1907 once his health bar had reached a solid yellow. But it would be a few years later in 1911 before Jack would kick the bucket, or in this case, something much heavier. According to legend, Jack Daniel, now in his 60s or so, had forgotten the combination to a personal safe housing a bunch of valuables like safes are typically designed to do. In his frustration, Jack tried to solve the problem in true US Southerner fashion by putting a boot up its ass. But since a safe has buns of literal steel, Jack instead broke his toe, causing a severe blood infection. Jack Daniel reportedly died of blood poisoning on October 9th, 1911. But is this story true? I don't know.
What the fuck? Bro, dad kicking is like, yeah, that's actually, yeah, bro. How do you die kicking a stone, bro? How do you die kicking a steel? Sorry, kicking a steel. Ow.
Here's a rather recent one for you. Back in 1993, when the world was witnessing the birth of the internet, Czechoslovakia was checking out, and President Clinton was gearing up to suck or be sucked at his job, Gary Hoy was about to meet his untimely death. An extremely successful business partner and corporate and securities law specialist for the Holden Day Wilson law firm in Toronto, Canada, Gary was living it up, but he would quickly learn that it's a long fall from the top. Gary had a reputation as a very personable guy, always loving to talk to people, share wisdom, and loved cracking a few jokes here and there. But on July 9th, 1993, one of Gary's jokes would fall flat. While attending a reception in the office on a Friday, Gary decided to give a tour of the office to a group of accounting and law students, which of course was a typical routine for Gary's charismatic character. But what happens next would be cemented in the minds of everyone around him. While on the tour of the 24th floor office, Gary decided to whip out his signature move. Boasting about the structural integrity of Canadian architecture and the seemingly unbreakable glass office windows, Gary charged full speed towards one of the windows.
Now these are actually fuck with, bro. I love this one, bro. Out of everything, these are actually fuck with, bro. You are fucking dumb. You are, yeah.
A party trick he apparently had performed successfully many times in the past. Typical Gary. This time, he was also successful. Gary bounced right off of the glass without a hitch, to the applause and laughter of the students. Y'all want to see me do it again? Yeah! No, not really. Gary was about...
He's gonna do it again. Yeah, and he died.
And a little too hard on the window. Gary charged once more, hitting the glass at a sprint. Now, to his credit, the glass didn't break, but the entire window frame dislodged from its setting, causing Gary to plunge the full 24 stories to his death. The students and various colleagues stood paralyzed and horror-struck after witnessing Gary's fall. Not to mention the witnesses on the ground where Hoy's body had landed.
Nigga, yes, because he's dumb as fuck. Oh my god. Not once, but twice. Stupid.
Following the incident, many of the firm's lawyers received professional counseling, but some chose to part ways with the company, eventually leading to its full closure in 1996. Talk about having a falling out.
If you struggle with focus, this sound might change everything.
Bro, this adds, bro.
Each of us wants to accomplish our own big motivational concrete goals before crossing the eternal finish line. A loving family, traveling the world, subscribing to this channel, which you can do right now.
Hold up, yeah. Subscribing to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Yeah, I just subscribed.
But as the Rolling Stones once said, you can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, I forget the rest. Anyway, this is Frank Hayes, and he has his own goal, to win a race, a horse race. Problem is though, he is no professional jockey. A young Irish fella born in Ireland in 1901, Frank grew up as a stable boy and eventually an apprentice horse trainer under James Frayling, a wealthy gent who owned and bred professional racing horses. Paying close attention to Frank's rather small stature, Frayling gave Frank an opportunity to race as a jockey. And he lost. But apparently not too bad, because he was given a second chance in 1923. One small snag in this plan, however, was that Frank was a tad too heavy. Jockeys were required to weigh less than 130 pounds in order to qualify for racing. Ideally, the slimmer and sleeker your jockey is, the less of a burden he is for the horse, allowing for a higher potential speed. Less mass, go fast. And so Frank was given a doozy of a task: lose 12 pounds in a few days. And that's a big ask for someone already in a healthy weight range, but Frank was determined to strap in the saddle once more. Through what I can only imagine were extremely unhealthy choices, the frail Frank ended up making the cut and was given the thumbs up to participate in the race, though he was nowhere near expected to win, with him and his horse only given 20-1 odds. On June 4th, 1923, Frank mounted his horse named Sweet Kiss and prepared to travel around the track. The racers were off, and Sweet Kiss quickly trailed behind the group. However, in the final stretch, Sweet Kiss apparently kicked in maximum overdrive and managed to close the gap, with Frank appearing locked in, closely hugging the horse's neck. In an extreme upset, Sweet Kiss actually won the race by a pretty respectable lead. But after dropping from a gallop to a canter to a walk, Frank was still closely gripping the steed. Frank Hayes was dead. During the race, Frank's heart gave out, presumably from the extreme and unhealthily fast weight.
I told you guys this. I say this every single day. Light is faster than sound and wind. He died because he wasn't having a torchlight, bruv. Take a light, point it on your face, and you will go slower. Bro was going too fast, he couldn't stop the horse, and the wind killed him. Simple, bruv.
Drop sustained to get into the race in the first place. So yeah, Sweet Kiss carried a corpse across the finish line. Frank Hayes photo finished into the great beyond at the age of 22, or 35 depending on
At least he got the first position
whatever sort
from the last position.
you read. I know that's a big discrepancy, but welcome to history. Unfortunately, Sweet Kiss, now superstitiously dubbed Sweet Kiss of Death, never ran another race as jockeys refused to mount the mare, fearing a similar fate. So of course, it was the end of her show and she got her final curtain call. Speaking of which, that's the end of this video.
Couple years. That was good. 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 But remember, always, light is faster than anything. Than wind. Sorry, light is faster than wind. If you are going too fast, if you are going point a torchlight, it will help you, bro. It will help you. Well, that's it. Peace out, guys.